Okay, can we acknowledge ourselves for the new year? All right. All right. Brand new. Brand new. Time is an illusion, is what the chorus says. So we just decided this is 2019. It's been like a group decision, 2019.
It is an illusion.
It's hello, Happy New Year, those of you on Facebook Live that's watching, and that ain't no jive. Want to welcome you to A Course in Miracles, and a miracle is a right perception, it's a right answer. So this is a course in right answers, correct perceptions. The Course says that we have a correct perception, it's a miracle. So that's why it's called A Course in Miracles. And today we're going to talk about creation and communication. Creation and communication on page 69 if you have the book. It's on page 69. Creation and communication. You could say creation.
What chapter?
It's chapter 4, The Illusions of the Ego. Chapter 4, The Illusions of the Ego.
That's what we need.
It's page 69, section 7, chapter 4, The Illusions of the Ego. Chapter 4, The Illusions of the Ego, page 69, in the Foundation for Inner Peace version. That's the version I'm going to be working out of. That's the one I'm most familiar with. And it's also the one that most people have. So I'm going to go with, it's the one I used, and it definitely blessed me in ways that I can't even begin to put into words. And it's creation and communication. The Course says creation is communication. Creation is communication. So creation and communication, creation and communication. And so would you like to have the right attitude? Yes. To take a look at this, okay? If you want to really commit yourself deeper to the Course in Miracles, I'm going to give you a 40-year of studying the Course in Miracles tip. Okay, I'm going to make it easy for you.
Thank you.
Rule number 1 is your understanding is not a powerful contribution to the truth. The Course says, knowledge is, quote, knowledge is not the motivation for learning the Course. You're not studying the Course in Miracles to have more knowledge. So it's not about whether or not I understand all of it. It's not about whether or not I agree with all of it or it fits into my belief system, because the Course in Miracles says knowledge is not the motivation for learning the Course. Peace is. You study the Course in Miracles because you want total fulfillment. You want peace, not because you're interested in more knowledge. Okay, everybody clear on that? Okay, so it's for those who want more peace in their lives. It's not really about, can you get more money? Can you get more power? Can you get more fame? Can you get more physical pleasure? That is not the purpose of A Course in Miracles, even though it seems to be a side effect. You know, it almost looks like that saying in the Bible that goes, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and everything else will be added. That's been my experience of the Course, is that in pursuing my relationship with love and God and pursuing my relationship with inner peace, all those other things that used to occupy my mind all the time, I watched the universe or spirit start to handle those things in ways I could not have imagined.
Hallelujah.
Okay? But if that's your goal, you'll get frustrated with the Course in Miracles, because it's not a paragraph in here that's about how to make $100,000 a year. Okay, it's how to have more orgasms. It's not in here. It's not in here. How to be the president of a company, it ain't in here. That's not what it's about. Because the Course in Miracles teaches that every single thing in the world is neutral. Everything in the world is neutral. But we have no neutral thoughts. everything is neutral, but we don't have any neutral thoughts about anything. That's what it teaches. And so it says, another tip is that it says, if you are going to study the course, you should remember that you need not believe it, and you need not accept it, and you need not welcome it. And some of it's going to be hard to believe, and some of it's going to be startling. So it's already told us that. Okay, then it says you are not asked to judge the ideas or analyze the ideas at all. You're not being asked. I think that's cute where it says you're not being asked to. You may do it, but nobody's asking you to. Okay, that may be your approach, but nobody's asking you to judge and analyze it. It says very simply, if you use the ideas will show you that the ideas are true. Which is a very interesting statement. The ideas will show you that the ideas are true, but only if you use them. And then it goes, well, what do you mean if I use the ideas? If you will use the interpretations and meanings that the Course in Miracles is giving, those interpretations and meanings will show you that the Course is true, because those interpretations and meanings will give you peace of mind. So when it says, will show you that the ideas are true, what it's talking about is not necessarily that your mother, your father, your mate, your co-workers, and your boss and the traffic is going to necessarily change. Because remember, it's not talking about that. It's talking about what? Peace. So if I use these ideas, I will achieve peace of mind, which that's what it means when it will show you that the ideas are true, as far as being able to give you peace. But I won't know that if I don't use the ideas. And I don't have to believe them, because there are 4 stages to accepting a new idea. And the 4 stages to accepting a new way of thinking is, first you just hear it without necessarily believing it. First I have to just hear it. And anybody that studies the Course knows that that's the most difficult part about teaching the Course, is getting people to hear it. Whether it's because they go to sleep and go unconscious, or because they go immediately into analyzing it and trying to fit it into their way of already thinking. So it's not like I let myself hear it before I start judging it. Okay, so first stage is just let myself friggin' hear what it's saying, even if I don't understand it, right? Right? And then it says the next stage is to repeat it over and over and over and over and over and over until you start to accept it as true. And then repeat it until you start to accept it as true with some reservations, but you're still beginning to get it. And then the final stage is I finally accept it as true. And at the point I accept it as true, then I recognize it and then I perceive it in my reality. So most of us may be just at the point that we're just hearing anything this book says for the first time. So we may actually just be at the, I want to hear what it's saying, even if I don't necessarily get it. Now, I've been obsessed with it for almost 40 years. I've been teaching it full time for 30 years. I can save you some time if you're open to it. Even though we're all adults, one of the things that's a challenge about teaching adults is that adults are programmed to not listen sometimes to answers they haven't thought of or solutions they have not thought of. Yep. Because we are all educated to be autonomous and self-sufficient and handle. So our first instinct is to really not sometimes let ourselves hear things that we didn't think of. Right? Yes. And so the Course in Miracles is saying to us that before you can have knowledge, which is absolute certainty, which is true love, which is enlightenment, it comes after peace.
Yes. Yes.
I'll say that again. You can't know something until you have peace. So you don't go straight from I'm going through hell, I'm in conflict, anger, guilt, and grievances to enlightenment. Actually, the truth is, according to the Course, which we don't have to believe, is that you are most likely to make an error in judgment and to have a wrong perception if you're upset, afraid, and angry. But that's when you are most likely to make a choice or a decision that you'll regret you made. But that's when most people tend to think that's when they're the most accurate.
Yes.
I wouldn't be upset about nothing.
Exactly.
You know, I'm upset with you because I see what you're doing. I know you've never had that kind of attitude about, I can tell, I got all the spiritual faces in the house. It's like, let me tell you what the spiritual face does. It does, really? Anger? Get upset? What do you mean? Don't you see my wings? Chicken wings?
Chicken wings.
That's the one that most people want. That's the wings most people are aware of is chicken wings. That's right. There's this TV show that I'm enjoying right now that's called Lucifer. It's on Fox. It's really a great show. It's like the devil left hell. And he came to earth. And now he wants to get back to hell. Earth is worse. And one of the things that the devil said was he's tired. He left because he's tired of getting blamed for all the stuff we're deciding to do. And then being projected on him. The devil made me do it. Now the devil said, I didn't make y'all do nothing. That's y'all. I'm just here to give you the punishment you think you deserve. I'm the executioner.
I'm tired.
You know, and I'm beat. I'm tired. You know, and so the Course is telling us to first let ourselves hear it. Now I'm going to share a paragraph on page 69, and I'm going to read it to you, and hopefully I will give you a direct experience of the Course in Miracles being another language written in English. It's another language written in English. All you all think you know English? Everybody think you think? Okay, I'm going to read something to you. It is clear that while the content of any particular ego illusion does not matter, the ego illusion's correction is more helpful in a specific context. Ego illusions are quite specific, although the mind is naturally abstract. Part of the mind becomes concrete, however, when the mind splits. The concrete part believes in the ego, because the ego depends on the concrete. The ego is the part of the mind that believes your existence is defined by separation. Got that?
Sure.
Everybody got that? It's the last sentence. Okay, so everything before that last sentence was saying the same thing as the last sentence said, but in another way. The Course in Miracles is genius in saying the same thing in different ways so that hopefully one of the ways that it said it in, you will get it.
That's good.
That's why if you're studying the Course in Miracles, don't spend a lot of time on the sentences and paragraphs that you do not understand. I'm giving you some tips. Okay? Because it's going to say the exact same thing in another way that you may be able to grasp. So you're really just wasting your time when you're trying to figure out a particular paragraph, or it's a trick. It's a trick. So if you find yourself getting to a paragraph, you're really kind of sailing along, and you get to a paragraph, and you get to a page in the Course, and all of a sudden you go crazy because you don't know what the hell you're reading. Listen to me after 38 years. Keep going.
Thank you.
I got a feeling that's going to get toppled.
Careful.
Okay, all right.
Too exuberant.
All right. Even though I love you being close and everything. But, okay. All right, because I know the ego. It would like to disrupt it. Okay. So if you're studying the Course in Miracles, keep reading. I didn't understand that sentence. Keep reading. I didn't understand that paragraph. Keep reading.
I understood it.
Okay. All right. Tip number 2. If you're studying the Course in Miracles, every time you analyze it, you're destroying the meaning of what you just read. As soon as you go into the regular linear learning that we've learned as left brain Americans, he says you are destroying the meaning of what you're hearing, because analyzation is to break it down, separate it out, and to fragment it. Let me give you a good example. If I was chopped into little bits and someone told you to say what that was, you wouldn't have the slightest idea. So chopping it down into little bits in terms of the truth is not going to give you a better understanding. It's about remembering what you're being told. The Course is about remembering what it's saying. What did I say it was about? Okay. All right. Does your understanding make something true or not?
No.
Don't we act like it does?
Yes.
Don't we act like unless we agree with something, it's not true? Right? Okay. Here's another little tip about the Course. It's like a many-faceted diamond. There are many, we're all looking at the microphone from different angles, are we not?
Yes.
So if I describe that my angle has a little dot on it, and does that mean that if you were to say you were seeing an angle with an X on it, that your point of view is wrong? No. Would it mean mine is wrong? No. So just because somebody doesn't see it the way that you see it does not mean they're wrong and you're right. That's a biggie, especially with us truth students, because we can be what I call Dr. Correctors of the universe. All we do is correct every friggin' thing somebody says and tell them how they should have said it another way, or that's another way you should look at that, or that's wrong based on what I'm thinking. No, I'm not wrong just because I'm looking at something from a different angle that you're looking at it. And you're not wrong because I'm looking at something from a different angle you're looking at it. Actually, if I was to integrate what you're saying along with what I'm seeing, I would have a bigger, broader, more helpful perspective. So it's only the ego that needs to be one up on who's the smartest, who's saying it correctly, right? So the Course in Miracles is, here's another thing. You are not the healer, according to the Course in Miracles. You are not going to fix one of your problems.
Right.
Haven't you noticed?
Yes, I have.
Now, let me give you the Course in Miracles definition of a fixed problem. It's one that doesn't come back. It's not, I fixed my financial problem in January and in September I'm filing for bankruptcy again. It's not, I finally got issues handled in my relationships, and then I talk to you 6 months later and all you're talking about is all of the pain and conflict you're going through again. And then you fix it again, and then you go through a change again. The Course in Miracles says if something is truly healed, it only has to be healed once. If it's healed, it doesn't come back. If it's really been healed, it doesn't come back.
Okay, so I'd like to say none of my problems have been healed.
That is exactly what a person who's really studying the Course would say. They would say, based on that, none of my problems have really been healed.
Yeah.
Because I know I have recurring issues.
Yes. Just ask my friends.
If there is no fear in love,
Right.
if it's true love, but I don't know any relationship that I have absolutely not the slightest bit of contraction or doubt or fear at any level whatsoever all the time. So based on that, I haven't really been experiencing true love yet either.
No.
So a true Course in Miracles student that's really getting to the point that now they're ready to have love they're going to sound negative to people who believe that being spiritual means only saying what you think of as positive things. I'll say that one more time. Being spiritual does not mean being a bliss ninny. It does not mean that you don't tell the truth about what you feel. Because if I realize I don't know how to love you, I'm much more open to receiving guidance about how to love you. If I think I already do, and I'm not receiving it, I'm mystified. I'm this really nice person who's always going through hell. Why is that? It's because you're completely out of touch with what's going on within you at a subconscious, unconscious level. The Course in Miracles is about shadow work. It's about getting in touch with the unconscious, subconscious ideas and beliefs that's making your experience, that's causing you pain and conflict, and you don't know where it's coming from. And so since we don't know where it's coming from, because we only are aware of what we are aware of and not aware of the rest of our subconscious ideas, then we project that onto the people around us and say they're the ones that's the problem.
That's the shadow.
Yeah, and so my shadow self is the ego. It's getting in touch with my fear-based self, my separated self. So that last sentence in that paragraph says, the ego is, see, it says, I'm about to tell you. I don't have to figure it out. It's about to tell me. So I don't have to go to my brilliance to figure out what it is. No, say is. Did it say is? It said the ego is the part of the mind that believes your existence is defined by separation. It's the part of us that believes we are separate from each other. It's the part of me that believes I'm an Earl Purdy and you are whoever you are. It's the part of me that believes I'm on my own, out here trying to make it. The ego is the part of our mind that believes our very existence is defined by being separate from each other and different from each other, and smarter or dumber or nicer or meaner. It's the part of us that believes in differences, our differences. That's the ego. And the Course says the ego then is what makes fear, because fear comes from being separate and being strangers to each other and not recognizing our commonality, our oneness, and that we are ultimately the same being, right? I'm rarely afraid of someone I love and know. Right? So why am I suspicious when I see you? I think you're separate from me. I think you're different from me. Hence the class problem, the race problem, the different country problem. It's all coming from us thinking that we're separate and we're different, and we all have different interests. And those interests are in conflict with each other. I like her, you like her, now we both in competition for her. We have separate interests. If you win, I lose. Okay. So the Course in Miracles is saying to us that it's clear that while the content of any particular ego illusion doesn't matter, the content of each one of the beliefs that we have does not really matter. But correction is more helpful in a specific context. If I can use the Course in Miracles in a specific context, then correction is more helpful. So a particular context would be, my boss came in this morning and he gave me an evaluation, and I am really upset about that. Specific context. So how would the truth be helpful in that specific context? Then I need to tell myself the truth in that specific situation. And the truth is, I am never upset for the reason I think. So I would take the Course in Miracles lesson that says I'm never upset for the reason I think, and then I would say I'm not upset about my evaluation from my boss for the reason I think. See, now I've taken the Course from the abstract and I brought it down to my day. I'm not upset with my kids for the reason I think. I'm not upset with my boss for the reason I think. I'm not upset about my weight for the reason I think. I'm not upset about my age for the reason I think. I'm not upset about anything for the reason I think. So what am I upset about? I'm upset about the meaning that I'm giving to my evaluation. I'm upset about the meaning that I'm giving to my boss, to my friend, to my child, to my finances. What's upsetting me are my thoughts.
Right.
That's the only thing that's upsetting me.
Right.
Is my thoughts. I'm not upset. I think I'm upset because you're mistreating me. No, I'm upset because of the way I'm thinking. Now, you could appear to be mistreating me. I could still maintain my peace and make a choice that takes me out of the situation that I think is creating pain for me. I don't necessarily have to beat the hell out of myself with anger and guilt to alleviate a situation. So therefore, me being upset is not a necessary stage for me to deal with life.
Well, right on.
Because I'm the only one that's feeling the freaking upset.
Yeah, right.
My boss isn't feeling the upset.
No. Right.
So in essence, the Course says, your anger is an attack upon yourself.
Yes. Right.
It's a lesson that says, say what you're upset about, say what you're bothered about, say what you're mad about, say what you're sad about, and then say, this thought is an attack upon myself. I hated that lesson when I first heard it. There would be some lessons you will hate them.
Yes.
There's one lesson you're supposed to say, what I see is a form of vengeance.
Yeah.
So all day long you was looking at something and go, what I'm looking at is a form of vengeance.
It's sunset.
What I'm looking at is a form of vengeance. That relationship is a form of vengeance. My ego, and I've learned when I do have that reaction, I'm really on to something. Right? What do you mean by it's a form of vengeance? If I don't love myself, if I don't recognize the truth, I'm going to use everything as a form of punishment on myself. I'm going to use everything as a form of taking vengeance on myself.
Yes.
If I don't think I deserve to be happy, I'm going to use relationships to punish myself. That's taking vengeance. So being a form of vengeance is a choice.
Yes.
Being a form of vengeance doesn't mean that's what it's going to be. It means that it can be a form of vengeance. Now, I'm saying this, and there could be those of you who are saying right now, man, I don't know if I agree with what you're saying, Earl. I don't care. I hate to break it to you, but I really don't care.
Oh my God.
Because I said at the very beginning, what? All of us are going to have our takes on whatever we're saying. Right? And so if something is true to you, if it rings true for you, then you know that should be the thing you follow. It doesn't necessarily mean anybody else has to agree with you. So the Course is telling me, how can I make this real? I had a pain in my lower abdomen earlier today. What did I say to myself? Oh, my goodness, I think I'm separate from God. I think I'm separate from love. It's taking the form of me having pain. Oh, pain. I know what's going on. I'm trying to convince myself I'm a body. Because if I have all this pain, I'm going to identify with a body.
There you go.
So therefore, I see my pain as a defense against the truth. It's trying to make me think that what the Course has taught me about me being this unlimited being is not true. Because how could an unlimited child of God be needing some Pepto-Bismol? You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then I do whatever is necessary at the level of the body to deal with it. Whether it's taking medicine, not taking medicine, taking a walk, drinking some water. I deal with it at that level only after I've told myself the truth about it based on what my spiritual path tells me is going on. Now, do you know that's the importance of a spiritual path? And your spiritual path may not be a Course in Miracles. It may never be a Course in Miracles, but it is my spiritual path. So part of my agreement with the divine is that if this is my spiritual path, which means this is how you're going to communicate with me, this is how we're going to create, then if I go into agreement that this is my path, which means it represents a level of knowledge and instruction beyond what I have and know, then I'm going to go with what my path is telling me, even if I don't believe it yet. Do you hear me? Okay, so I might not jump up and down with joy when I say it's just a symbol of me being separate from God. It's just a defense against the truth. It's just me trying to convince myself that I'm this separate body. But it's taken the form of me having a stomachache. Because I am never upset for the reason I think. So I think I'm upset because my stomach is hurting. I'm really upset about what I'm telling myself about it. In the end, that's what I'm upset about. The Course says the only thing that can be wrong is your perception.
Or sick.
The only thing that can be wrong is your perception. The only thing that can, and he says perception is interpretation. that it is interpretation. So when you say I'm perceiving something, it says you're saying I'm interpreting this. So when you're perceiving me right now, you're interpreting me right now. And you're interpreting me right now based on what you learned. So you're only seeing what you've learned. You've learned I'm a man. You've learned these are pants. You've learned this is a room. You've learned this is a mic. You've learned this is a bald head. So that's what you say you see. Had you learned this was a cat, you would say, my God, what an awesome round cat you have. And everybody who also learned that would say, have their agreement maybe. So when you say you're seeing something, of course it's saying you're just seeing images you made. Yeah. You're not really seeing anything but what you've been taught to see, what you've learned to see, and the way you've learned to see it, and that becomes your world of perception. And he says it's like a bubble that you're inside of all day. You're just looking at your beliefs all day long. And there is a world beyond your belief. There's an Earl beyond what you think of him. There's an Earl that really exists beyond every one of your perceptions and every one of your judgments.
And he's awesome.
You know, that's right. That's how I know when you've really seen it. You can always tell when somebody's really seen you, according to the course, because if they've really seen you, they're seeing something so beautiful, so powerful, so loving, he says that they can scarce refrain from dropping down on their knees in tears at the beauty of what you're looking at. Yes. You know, you come home from work, your partner's just damn, you're so gorgeous, you're so beautiful. Wow. Wow. Yes. I can't believe that. Woo! And they get more like that every day. Right. It's not like a special relationship where it starts out, I can't get enough of you. Hey. See you later. See you later.
I'm going out with my friends.
If it's real, it increases in joy. It increases in love. It increases in happiness. If it's real, it doesn't start out up here and then decrease. That's what the Course calls a fear-based relationship. Right. So what is it doing? It's teaching us the difference between love and fear. It says because if you know the difference between the two, you will make the right choice. But he says we don't have the slightest idea. We don't know the difference between the two. That's how he says we go into relationships and then later on say, how did I end up in this impossible situation? Right. Well, you didn't know what you were choosing. You didn't know you didn't recognize what you were choosing. I can listen, based on studying this, I can listen to somebody 10 minutes and know whether we're going to get along. Yeah. Without having to condemn them, without having to judge them. I know, because I know what I want, and I know what love is based on this, then when I listen, I can tell whether or not a person is sharing my purpose, or they're sharing that same goal. It's so easy once you know the difference. So don't forget, the Course in Miracles is there to teach you the difference between when you're choosing love and when you're choosing something else. When you're choosing for your peace and you don't know, and it says our chief weapon is the special relationship. It says the main thing that people who are not aware of the truth use to keep themselves in conflict and fear is their special love relationships. That's the number one way that people keep themselves unhappy, even if they're unhappy because they don't have one. That's also a form of unhappiness. Yes, still a weapon. Because I'm longing for it. Yes. I'm saying there's something that's lacking in me that I need someone else to fulfill. So I'm still using it as a weapon, right? So the Course in Miracles says your ego illusions, the things that you fear, are quite specific, but your mind is naturally abstract. What does that mean? That means part of your mind has become concrete. Part of the mind has become form, physical, specific, concrete. That's why we're seeing it. This is mind, but it's the part of the mind that now seems concrete. All right? Then it says the concrete part believes in the ego. What is the ego? The concrete part depends on the part of your mind. This depends on the part of your mind that believes that you are separate.
Yes.
So it's when you think you're separate that you see separation
Yes.
and form.
Yes.
Are you still with me?
Yes.
All right, then it says the ego depends on it. Okay? The part of me that thinks it's separate depends on this. So that's why when you start to learn spiritual awareness and you start to wake up to who you are beyond form, beyond the body, the ego part of you, the part that is defined by separation, does everything in its power to block you going beyond believing this is the only thing that's real and this is you. So there's a part of you that has a vested interest in you believing you're only a physical human being that's separate from everybody else, that dies one day, and you're trying to make it and give yourself a little pleasure before you go. And shouldn't you just, and just, you know, and then to guarantee I'll stay thinking that I'm separate in a body, it comes up with the idea of sin and guilt and separation. So not only are you separate, you're bad.
Forever.
You are not innocent. You are guilty. So that also makes you contract and makes you feel separate. Like, I don't deserve love. How could people love somebody like me? See, all those are statements of separation. Oh, I'm sick. Nobody else is feeling my stomach ache but me. I didn't walk in the door and anybody said, man, I feel your stomach ache. Why? Because I can only feel in separation, I can only feel my own feelings.
Yes. In separation.
I can only feel my own feelings. So when you go, I'm feeling you, Earl. No, you're not feeling me. You're feeling you.
Yes.
And then you project, oh, I feel like you're really into me. No, you are really into me. And you're feeling that and you're projecting it on me.
Yes.
You are the sender and the receiver of your feelings.
Right.
I'll say that again. You are, all that you give is given to, the happiness you feel, it's coming from you.
That's right.
The joy that you're feeling with somebody, it's coming from you. The passion that you think you feel with somebody, it's coming from you.
Yeah.
You say it's coming from them. It ain't coming from them. It's coming from you.
Yep.
You're feeling your desire. You're feeling your love. You're feeling your happiness. And then you say, I'm the one that's the catalyst. I'm the one. So I'm looking for that person who loves me.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm looking for me. You are the one that you're looking for. And then once you give love, then this external reflection out here, you will see the reflection of that. Because this is a three-dimensional mirror.
Yes.
That's what this is. This is a hologram. This is virtual reality taken to a level that you couldn't believe. Now, that sounds theoretical. Can I prove that this is virtual reality? No. Can I prove to you that you live beyond the death? No. So it says focusing on theoretical issues are delaying maneuvers to keep you from applying the truth. So every time we get into reincarnation theories, or do you really live forever, or is this a three-dimensional hologram, that's a delaying maneuver. What I can do in this moment is go, the way that I'm feeling right here with you right now, I'm the one that's generating that feeling through what I'm telling myself about you right now. And this book could give me another way of looking at you right now that would make me feel peace with you right now. That I can do right now, and I'd have more peace with you right now. So anything that's true, you can do it now. So that's what it means by a specific context. I want to apply this in a specific context, because as long as I keep it abstract, that's a delaying maneuver to keep me from practicing this. So that's why I don't ever get into any kind of debates and discussions about, well, is it really reincarnation? This is really an illusion? Blah, 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 blah. No, what I really want to do right now is see you as innocent.
Yeah.
I want to see you in a loving way.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. That's what would be plenty. So So it ends in that paragraph, it ends with the ego is what? The part of the mind that believes that your existence is defined by separation. So how do I want to use the course in this paragraph? Well, what I want to do, what is it you want to do? I want to remember that there's a concrete part of me that believes that I'm separate, and that part of me is called the ego. So the ego is just a part of us that thinks it's separate. That's just a fact, according to this. Okay? It's the part of me that believes my existence is defined by separation.
Right.
And being different. And then it says, everything the ego perceives is a separate whole. So when you look out through the eyes of the part of you that thinks you're separate, you see a separate whole Earl, a separate whole being here, a separate whole thing here, a separate whole thing there. Are you seeing separate wholes?
Who you calling a separate hoe?
Are you seeing separate wholes?
Oh, holes. Gotcha.
Are you seeing separate holes in the room? Say yes. You do see what you think of as objects and people, right? Chairs. Okay. All right. So, okay. All right. Okay. Then what that means, you are now looking at things through your ego.
Right.
According to this. That's why I say, not according to your belief system, but according to what this is saying. That's a different kind of question if I say, according to what this is saying, then are you looking through your ego? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then it says, the ego then, he says, because when you're looking at a separate whole, you're looking at something that's without the relationships that imply being. We are here because we're all in relationship with each other. And the Course in Miracles says the ego is thus against communication. See, the part of me that wants to stay separate, the part of me that wants to stay in any form of fear or guilt or separation, that thinks its existence is defined by separation, the Course says that part of me is against communication. Because if there's a part of me that exists because of separation, then the part of me that exists because of separation would not want me to join. Because if I join, that which is separate would no longer see itself or experience itself as separate. So that is a part of us that flat out don't want any of this oneness we talking about. Doesn't want any of this joining we're talking about. Absolutely doesn't. My separate self ain't interested in joining with you. Seeing me as the same as you. Seeing me as one with you. There's a part of me that has no interest in it, and it's afraid of you. And so the ego is the part that's afraid, that believes its existence is defined by separation. So that part of me is against joining, is against communication, except if we're going to communicate in a way that's going to keep us separate. Now, I will communicate with you when I'm in my ego and my fear if I'm going to argue with you, if I'm going to say something that's going to make us be separate from each other, if I'm going to say something that makes you feel guilty and me feel it. I will communicate if it's going to be black folk against white folk against black folk, men against women, one country against another country. There's a part of us that loves to communicate as long as it's emphasizing our separateness, our differences. Are you still with me?
We'll talk about that.
Okay, so that means there is a part of us that has a vested interest in keeping us in some form of fear and upset and anger. Listen to me now. There is a part of the mind that needs to keep you PO'd about something all the time, upset about something all the time. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
Okay, so, and then it just changes form. You think you got your financial problem solved, and then you get sick. Then you finally get healed, and then your mate leave you. Then you think you got that handled, and they laid you off on your job. And then maybe you'll get upset about what's going on between me and my creator. Have you noticed what I call the merry-go-round of hell? It just, right? Oh, relationships, money, job, health, relationship, money, jobs, health, relationship. Okay, so the Course is saying to us that there's a part of us that has a vested interest in keeping us in some form of upset to maintain its separate self. Okay? All right? Now, the next sentence it says the communication system of the ego, the communication system of the what? The mind that believes its existence is defined by separation. It has a social security number. That part of us, it says the communication system of the ego is based on its own thought system, as is everything else it dictates. So you all communicate based on what you believe and think.
Yes.
That, it's right here on the page. So you're communicating separately to me based on your own way of thinking.
Yes.
Some wonder, where do you think the Tower of Babel in the Bible came from? We are the Tower of Babel, which was a lot of people speaking a lot of different languages that didn't understand each other. Right? Because you got your way of thinking, and I got my way of thinking, and I got my way of seeing things, and you got your way of seeing things, and you got your morals, and I got my morals. So it says the thought system of the separate self, whoo, is based on its own thought system. It says, as is everything you dictate, is based on what you think.
Right.
I want you to treat me a certain way based on the way I think you should treat me, and the way I think it should be done. And as a fact, and I didn't even tell you, you just should know. You just should know what I want and what I need without me even saying anything. But I said I don't believe that minds being joined.
Right.
But I expect you to read them.
Yes.
It's funny how I believe in telepathy when I don't want to communicate.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden, you're just supposed to get it.
Yeah.
You're just supposed to get it, right? Right? Now, see, the Course in Miracles says, just like a good lover, you say, do me slowly. Yeah. It says in there over and over again, slowly. 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 Don't, it says 100 times, don't forget, remember, don't forget, remember, say this slowly, do this. What do we want to do? You're moving too slow. You should be beyond the first paragraph by now. I need to hear more to forget.
Yes.
I should have 3 or 4 paragraphs by now to absolutely forget what you said.
Yes.
Okay. So speed along. Speed along.
Hurry up.
Okay. But see, I'm doing it slowly, and look at the difference.
Yeah.
Look at that abstract paragraph that I read, and I'm looking right down at the book. And this isn't the only way someone looking at the book may see it. But if you notice, when I said the ego, I went right back to the part of the mind that believes your existence is defined by separation. Did you notice I did that? That was me giving the interpretation that the Course gives, not the interpretation that Earl Purdy made up.
That's right.
See, that's the difference. Like if you hear me substituting, I'm substituting something the book itself said, not what I'm making up based on my past learning. That's the difference. Because I'm letting the Course teach the Course. And that's what I want to do. A good teacher is a good motivator. I am committed, I am dedicated to be as supportive as I can possibly be to those people who resonate to the way it comes through me. Notice I said, to those people who it resonates the way it comes through me. And there are more people than you could ever imagine who would resonate to the things that come through you as you. There are more people than you could ever imagine that need you the way you are.
Amen.
That's yeah. If you with somebody and all they're saying is, if you were different, I'd be happy. 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 That is not someone that loves you.
That's right.
That you can just go, that is not someone that loves you. Because love allows all things. Love accepts all things. Love is not going to say, God is not going to say, Earl, when you get your act together, then I'm going to help you. That's our love.
That's right.
That's not God's love. God wouldn't ask you to be any different than the way you are now to be helped. That's the way we do it. Because we are fear-based. We think there's a limited amount of love. So if I love you, that means there's not any love left for everybody. Or if you love somebody else, that's love that I could be receiving. And we believe in limited love. That's why we want to get somebody who wants to give all their attention just to us and nobody else. We believe we're separate from each other, or separate from love, according to this. Okay, so the Course in Miracles creates tremendous resistance from the ego level. I'm not surprised that it's hard for people to study the Course, to hang in the Course, or get a lot of resistance to the Course. It's saying every single thing that the ego separated self does not want to hear. So this is a class on how to hear everything you hate to hear.
Have a few good laughs.
You know, yeah, I mean, that's really what it is. Are you willing to look at the thoughts that you have that truly are limiting you, that you actually believe in, and that you think your existence depends on? So that proves you are not your ego, that you are not the self that thinks it's separate. You are not the fearful, angry, guilty self, because the fearful, angry, guilty self would never bring you into this room. See, the part of you that brought you in the room is the part of you that wanted you to get in touch with your loving self, your real self, the part of you that truly knows that you're connected to source and connected to each other. It's hidden behind your beliefs, behind what you think. And the Course says you should be willing to let go of your learning if it hasn't given you what you want. He says learning failure is when you don't get what you want. So if you're defending your way of thinking right now, but you know you're unhappy, you know you're sad, you know you got areas that you're suffering in, but yet you're still sitting up there wanting to defend it, then that's a sign of learning failure. Because if you have not failed to learn, you would be ready to let go of anything that causes you pain on the basis of your loss of peace. And the Course says, if you don't want to be unhappy and in fear because it doesn't give you peace, then it will be removed from your mind for you. But based on this isn't giving me peace. I'm judging the effects of how I do relationships, so therefore I don't want to keep doing it. Because of the result is telling me I have some misperceptions about it, so I don't want to be right about the way I look at relationships, and I'm always unhappy. Right? So the Course says the minute you go, I want to let this go because it doesn't give me peace, it said it will be removed. That's different from saying, I don't have peace because of what you're doing. That's different than saying, I don't have peace, and so I want this removed. Notice there was no judgment in that statement. It wasn't any blame that I am miserable because you don't give me appreciation, so I need somebody to take away my pain. That's blame. But if I go on the basis of loss of peace, I'm ready to have this removed from my mind for me. No harm, no foul. All I know is I am not in peace. See, that's different. It's little slight things like that make the Course in Miracles so powerful. Because the average person would overlook that. You could have your fearful thoughts removed from your mind for you, but it says you haven't developed the willingness to do that yet. So we are being taught how to let ourselves be helped.
Yes.
We are so far deep into the separation and fear that the Course says we have to actually have a course that teaches us how to let somebody help us.
Exactly.
We have to learn how to let God help us, our Creator help us. First of all, we think we created ourselves. He says we think we created ourselves. Because if we didn't, then we would realize that we could go to that which created us and get guidance. I live by guidance. I don't live by figuring things out anymore. I stopped that years ago. It's amazing how my life improved when I stopped listening to me. It was one of the most amazing occurrences that ever happened since I've been here. Earl didn't come up with another one of his brilliant ideas that he thinks is going to make him happy. The Course in Miracles says, we get up in the morning and go, let me come up with the way I'm going to deceive myself again today. And I call it my plan. Let me tell myself something else I think is going to make me happy that absolutely will not make me happy because it's really neutral and my happiness is going to come from me. Okay, so I think if I go out today and buy me a new pair of shoes, it's going to make me happy. See, I just got up in the morning and decided to deceive myself about where my happiness comes from.
Right.
See, can I give myself happiness in my new shoes? Yes. I can give myself a lot of happiness in my new shoes. My new shoes can't make me happy.
Right.
So that's what you got to realize. Nothing in the world can make you happy. Nothing in the world can make you happy. Nothing in the world can make you happy. No person can make you happy. No person can make you happy. No person can make you happy. No thing can make you happy. Can you be happy with all of it? Yes. So I'm not saying you can't be happy in your house, happy in your car, happy in your body, happy in your relationship. I'm saying every time you say it is being caused by anything outside of your own thinking, your own self, then you are defining your happiness in a way that takes your happiness away, because at that point your happiness depends on the behavior of an external thing. So then that's going to naturally make you want to control them in order to maintain that joy that you think is coming from them, and that's why your relationship goes down the freaking tube, because you think that person is the cause, is the source of your joy, and you tell yourself you can only get it through them. That's the other big error. You know, you got to be my whole experience of females to the time I die. You're not a female, and I'm not a male. I'm the holy child of God, you are too. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, having these physical bodies to communicate and join in the truth. I'm using my body correctly right now because I'm using my body to join minds in truth.
Amen.
That is the correct purpose and use of my body.
Good job.
Now, could I do that at the movie? Yes.
Yes.
Could I do that as a lover? Yes. So there's no sacrifice. Don't misperceive me saying you can't have the pleasures of the flesh or the pleasures of the body. Just realize your body has no hope of pleasure.
Exactly.
Your body is not saying, I really want her.
Yes.
Your body doesn't care.
Yeah.
It just does what it's told. Body, walk over that way. Body, go in front of the mic.
Body, feel this pleasure.
Body, speak. Do you see what I'm talking about? You see what I'm saying? The body is our communication device that allows us to function in this plane. It's our skin diving outfit. Right? Right? So believing that the person in the casket is the person that's dead would be like having a funeral for your pants.
Very similar.
It's very similar. You are not your pants, and you are not your body, and you are not your car, and you are not anything in this world. God loves you too much to limit you to a tiny speck of form forever. But my desire to be special created me having this special body that's different from everybody else's, that's separate from everybody. Do you know why we're here? Because we want it to be. You're in the physical world because you want it to be. You wanted to know what it would feel like to be separate. And what happens when you think you're separate. Now we know. Now we want to change our minds about that, right? So then what's been used to cause us pain will be now used to bring us joy. So now this body that in the past has been used for separation and pain, broken into by periods in which it seems to be gone, we're going to use that body now to love each other, to care about each other, to remind each other the truth. Same body, different purpose. But just don't confuse yourself with it. Because when you confuse yourself with it, then you can't hear what your real self is saying. And you only listen to your ego, the part of you that thinks you're separate. Because the part of you that thinks you're separate is the part of you that lives in the body and looks out of the body's eyes. So listening to yourself is not listening to your ego. Listening to yourself doesn't mean listening to your body that thinks you're separate. It's listening to the part of you that's beyond separation, the part of you that's joined.
Yeah.
That's the part of you that really will give you everything you've ever wanted in your heart. And it's telling you how to receive it every minute. But the Course says you don't hear it because you're too busy listening to the voice you made up.
Yeah.
I'm making up who should make me happy. I say I want love. I want somebody to love me. Then I make the mistake of choosing them. And that screws up the whole process.
Yes.
Right? Because the part of me that wants to stay separate is going to choose the person that's going to keep the sense of separation going.
Yes.
So that'll be somebody that I'm going through pain and joy with, conflict and peace with. Because my ego is going to choose what's unavailable and what I can't have and what it looks like doesn't really love me the way I love it, to keep my fear and conflict going, which keeps my separate identity going.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That means I exist.
And the part of you that wants to love and that's ready to get in touch with your power, that's ready to get in touch with your true joy, it's going to start choosing relationships with people who share your purpose, who also want to go beyond ideas of guilt and fear and attack and separation. Someone who is going to look at you with those tears of joy and those tears of gratitude because you are their savior, because you're reminding them that they're more than they think they are, that they're more deserving than they tell themselves.
Hallelujah.
But if I don't love myself, I'm going to join with somebody who puts me down, criticizes me, judges me, doesn't give me any affection. I'm going to be on it
Yes.
all the time. I'm going to want them all the time. Why? Because my ego is glad to be with them. The part of me that wants to be separate, that's why I can't get away. The part of me that wants to be separate and afraid, that part of me is going to be attracted to them. And the person that's giving me a lot of love and a lot of acknowledgement and a lot of appreciation, do not turn my ego on.
No.
They'll be the person that I'm not feeling it.
I mean, I like
You
it, but
know?
I'm just not feeling it.
I'm just not feeling it.
I like
I'm
it.
just not feeling it. And so you'll go through an in-between period where it looks like you're no longer turned on by what you used to be turned on by in the past, but you haven't gotten to the point that you've attracted totally the new thought system and the person that represents the new you yet. And that's the most challenging period, because that's when you'll be tempted to try to go back and do it the old way one more time. Well, just one more time, I'm going back and I'm going to find that person that's going to make me happy. Because I got into this truth, and now I have less friends than ever. I got into this truth, and nobody's is turned on to me the way they used to be. Yes, insane people do not find you attractive anymore. People who would not appreciate you are not interested because you are a loving person. So you will not help their ego survive. You're a loving person. It's not going to keep their separate self going. So of course, they're not going to be attracted to you.
They're gonna run away.
Got some smelly love scent on you.
And let them go.
So the fear-based mind, the ego, its communication is controlled by its need to protect itself. So if I'm a fear-based person and I think I'm separate from you and I think you're separate from me, I'm a black dude, I'm scared of white people, right? I'm making it real. All of the different separations that we think we see, right? It says, so my communication is going to be controlled by my need to protect myself. And guess what the ego does? Guess what the part of you that wants to stay separate and fearful does? It will disrupt communication when it experiences threat. So as soon as I start saying something to you that's a threat to your old way of looking at things, your self-image, your self-concept, your ego, you're going, I don't want to talk about it no more.
I don't want to talk about it.
Let's make love. The Course in Miracles says we love to use the body to keep minds from joining. Just shut up. Go to bed. That's going to solve the whole thing. Because if you don't talk, I can keep on joining with you. I can keep on joining with my fantasy about you in uninterrupted bliss. See, I'm not really interested in you. I'm interested in the fantasy I have about you. And if you communicate, I'll see you. It may not be my fantasy. So if you just shut up, then I can still have my fantasy that I can join. By the way, that's based on the person before you.
Right.
Because you're supposed to make up for what I didn't experience in my other relationships in the past. That's why I want to go out with you, because I've had relationships that didn't work in the past, but you're going to give me the attention.
That's right.
And you're going to give me the kindness, and you're going to give me the trip that Lula May didn't. You know what I'm saying? So the Course says we enter relationships trying to restore our wounded self-esteem from what's happened in the past. So we're not really in a relationship with the person that's there. We're in a relationship with the person that's not there.
Yes.
That you've got to make up for what they did. So I don't trust you based on them, and overlook the fact you are not them. See, this is just a little fraction of the stuff that's in this book, and you wonder why people don't read it? Nobody would be able to fool you the way they fool you now.
Yes.
And you wouldn't have to condemn anybody. You just know this would be a mistake.
Yeah.
They're innocent. They're cool.
Yeah.
I'm not condemning you, but I can tell by the way you think and the values that you have that are opposite to the ones that I have, that we would just clash.
Yes.
No harm, no foul. It just don't make sense. And I can't make my attraction to your body and what you have supersede my awareness that we don't have a common state of mind and a shared purpose.
Baby.
Because the body part's going to play out. If you don't have something deeper going on, I don't care how good the sex and the juiciness or the specialness is, you all have done it before. You're old enough to have done it a lot of times. So it's not even like I'm talking about 1 or 2. Some of y'all got 10 or 12 under your belt. You know what happens. So how do you keep it interesting? How do you never lose the excitement of the relationship? You use the relationship as a means for waking up to who you really are and discovering what real love and truth really is. And you are a person that is a safe shelter for that person to grow in. In other words, instead of trying to get them to act out your script, you are trying to create a safe place where they can express who they authentically are. They're not there to act out my fantasies. But if I be honest with myself about what my fantasy is, the course says I handle that too. I'll take care of your foolish needs and your real needs as long as you don't use it on behalf of staying stupid and dumb. That's my paraphrase. In other words, okay, so you got a particular form you think you like.
Fantasy.
All right, you got a fantasy. You can have that fantasy if you use that fantasy to wake up.
Yes.
You're using that relationship to remind you of the truth, to remind you of your innocence, to remind you all to give each other peace and to recognize who you really are. Yeah, then you can have it in that form.
Yeah.
But never forget that you want the content more than you want the form.
Exactly.
That I want a person that loves me. It could be, for instance, my body is neutral. Right? So, it's like loving a car. Your car will run over you if somebody else is driving it. That car you worship, I used to worship my car.
Yes. Dear car, I love you.
And there's nothing wrong with loving. I'm not saying nothing wrong with loving. What I'm saying is, your car won't love you back. Somebody else will get behind the wheel and really run over you. But if I express love to you as sentient beings, then that is something I could truly experience coming back.
Yeah, that's a love that
Because
will come back.
that's the real love. It's the love that we can give each other. But all the other stuff in the world just becomes a means to give ourselves that. So what is my job? If I have a job at all, it's hopefully there's something that's come to me today will motivate you to want to pursue this further and learn how to let go of your blocks and your pains once and for all and not enter into this new year just looking for another form of the same thing you've been doing all the time. Looking for somebody or something else outside of yourself that's going to make you happy. Where you make the decision this year that you're going to make it different by making it all the same. You're going to go for the same love, the same truth, the same connection that we should have with each other. It says right here in the end, it says the course will disrupt, the ego will disrupt communication when it sees a threat. This disruption is a reaction to a specific person. This disruption may be a reaction to a certain group of people. It says in the specificity of the fearful mind's thinking then results in spurious generalization, which is really not abstract at all. What does that mean?
Yeah.
It just means you merely respond in certain specific ways to everything that you see as related. We just have certain specific ways that we respond to certain specific things that we think are related. But when I feel threatened, when my sense of separation, my own personal identity that I think is separate from God and separate from truth, when that part of me that thinks is guilty or angry or afraid and is trying to defend itself, but you're giving me some love, you're giving me some truth, you're saying something that's making me remember the truth, that part of me is going to want to disrupt the communication.
Yes.
The Course says that a lot of times when people ask questions, right in the book, it's specifically to disrupt the communication and not to get an answer. You're saying something that's a threat to their ego, and they go, "Oh, wait, I got to ask this question right quick." Because what's going to happen when they do that? You're going to stop. I'm going to stop saying what I was saying.
Yes.
And that, he says, that's more of the reasons that questions come up than coming from a genuine place of I don't know. And I want you to tell me something I don't know. Because most people just want to make statements with their questions.
Right.
They already have the way that they're seeing it. They just want you to validate it. And they'll state it in the form of a question.
Right.
But really, they already think they have the answer that they're asking you. They just want you to come into agreement with the answer that they already have when they're asking you the question. Right. And so he says that's not an honest question. He says an honest question is when you are truly asking something you don't know and you're open to receive the answer because you don't know. Many adults don't do that.
No.
It's very rare that an adult will ever ask any kind of question where they don't already have an opinion about what your answer should be. And so that's why he calls it a disruption.
Right.
Because it's just stop. Why? Because I'm really not going to change my mind. I'm really looking for validation.
Right.
So I'm really not open to changing my mind. I just want to stop what you're saying because it's a threat to what I believe and what I've accepted is true. I mean, this book don't take no prisoners.
No.
It don't. It tells the truth.
It's not applied.
It tells the truth. So, one sentence, let us go back out and
continue to learn.
No. Okay.
In contrast, because see, to me, when I'm just getting warmed up and ready to go deeper is when it's time to stop.
Yes.
Because it takes at least 45 minutes to an hour to get
Yes.
the ego out of the way enough
Absolutely.
to even hear what the Course in Miracles is saying.
Absolutely.
It really does.
Yes.
It really
It's
does.
wild.
So in that first hour, it's either knock those out who are not ready to hear it at all,
Right.
and they can't wait to get out the door,
Yes.
or it's gotten another group of people to the point that now what you're saying, I'm beginning to
Yes.
hear you.
And I want more.
You know, and I want more of that. And either position is innocent.
Yes.
Either position is innocent. You know what? Because if it doesn't come to you this way, the truth will come to you in another way, and it will come to you in the way that inspires you. And you can tell when you've discovered your path, because no matter how much resistance you may have, you still do it. I had the same resistance to the Course in Miracles, the terminology, the Christian terminology, all this stuff I hear people talk about is an excuse not to get into it. If you're a true Course in Miracles student, you will not let that stop you. Even with your resistance, you will know the content is more important than the form it's written in. But if it's not your path right now, or not your path at all, that would be the perfect justification for you not going deeper. Which is cool, because our Creator in His infinite wisdom gave us the truth in an infinite number of ways. So it will come to you when you are sincere about receiving it in a way that absolutely works for you.
Yes.
But if you're insincere, there is no way it can come that will ever be satisfying to you.
Ooh-wee.
Because you haven't made the decision not to suffer yet.
Yes.
And thank God the Course says that there's a limit to suffering.
Thank God.
That everybody has a limit. Some people's limit will blow your mind.
Yeah.
But everybody's got a limit.
Like mine.
Because as you begin to wake up, you will be less able to tolerate suffering. Waking up spiritually does not make you handle suffering better.
No.
It makes you handle it less. It's more intolerable.
Yes.
You can't stand being upset when you
Yes.
start to wake up spiritually
Yes.
because you know it's not necessary for you to be going through this pain. So you're not studying this so that you can stay in a situation that you're not happy in and go, oh, I'm cool with that. You really are in this so that you can choose to change your mind
Yes.
in every situation. Then watch your reality shift. Watch the part of you that loves you, called the Holy Spirit. Watch the part of you that is already, in a sense, crying with joy because of the beauty. See, that's in your mind too.
Yeah, right now.
Let that part of your mind start creating your relationships and everything. Don't use your little guilty mind that doesn't know anything. Don't put that in charge of your life. Stop putting the part of you that's mad and angry and suspicious and thinks it's separate, and that's the one you're going to for guidance. Don't use that guide anymore. Use the guide that's been given to you to get you out of the fear or separation that you feel because you flat don't deserve it, because you are total and complete treasure. So could you acknowledge yourself from here on? So if you want to go down this rabbit hole with me this year, I'm going deeper, and I want to go deeper with those who want to go deeper. You know, and that because there's nothing else to do. That's the greatest joy. It really is. So let's do the financial expression of appreciation right now. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. As a full-time teacher, I really appreciate that. In Unity Temple, we appreciate that because it keeps us here doing what we do. And so it's great. Those of you online, Happy New Year. And if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, just go to my website, earlpurdy.com, P-U-R-D-Y. I'm available for one-on-one sessions called clarity sessions. We can go so deep into what you think of as the thing that is your challenge right now, and I can bring all my experience in working with thousands of people, literally, into whatever your situation is and give you, through the Holy Spirit, another way of looking at it and handling it. And if you're open to it, I also use my knowledge of astrology and numerology, which was what got me on the spiritual path to begin with, that eventually led me to the Course in Miracles. And so I'm available if you're ready to take it deeper with you. I'm glad to do that because you are me and I'm you.
you're giving me an opportunity to heal every time I talk to you. Facebook Live, Earl Purdy page on Facebook. I do 3 Facebook Live presentations a week. Hardcore Course in Miracles on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. I call it hardcore because I'm primarily aiming it toward people who are studying the Course in Miracles, even though anybody's welcome, of course, to watch. But that's specifically geared to people who are saying, I am really wanting to study this. I am studying this. Not I'm thinking about it so much as working with the people that is doing it. Okay? And then, of course, on Sunday, please continue to come to the church to do this live, because if you don't come, there's no point in me doing it. You know, then I don't need to come on Sunday. So even though I'm here and it's easy to be taken for granted, I would like for you to give it some thought to show up, because it's easy to take people for granted when they're around all the time.
Yep.
We all do it.
Yes, we all
There's a
do.
line in the Course that says, if all you have to do to guarantee that something will leave your life is not appreciated.
That'll do it.
That'll do it. Just don't appreciate it, and it will leave. Like a lot of times people go, how do I get rid of somebody? Well, just keep doing what you're doing. Focusing on what they need to be doing instead of what you appreciate them for. And you're totally innocent if you don't come, because everybody that comes is sent. And the thought system that I'm learning is that nobody should be seen as guilty or bad because of them exercising their freedom. So both of those things are true. Please come, and you're innocent if you don't.
Yes.
That's right. Either way that it goes. Because I'm looking at light where you may be looking at bodies. 38 years, you start to see beyond the body. You start to see things you can't even tell anybody. You know, because it couldn't relate.
understand?
They absolutely wouldn't understand, because you don't.
Yeah.
So it ain't even like you can explain it to them either. You know, but that makes life exciting.
Yeah.
So why don't you, as an experiment this year, especially if you are people who see yourself as enlightened beings who've been doing a lot of studying,
You are very brave.
go into the I don't know place. If you think you know everything, and you know what I'm talking about, because you're busy correcting everybody around you and telling them what they should do. Okay, even if you're doing it spiritually.
Yes.
Okay.
Of course.
And the reason I'm saying that is because I was such a master of doing that. So I get my karma back constantly. Okay, so and I realize that's what it is. You know, I'm the most corrected person on earth if I say so. It's so funny. Because I used to do it all the time. So then you have to get to the point that you realize you've been given an opportunity to forgive yourself when you see somebody else doing what you do. So, okay, this is another opportunity for me to forgive myself every time I've done the exact same thing.
Yes.
So I'll just see it as a call for love.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
You know, and because nothing is coming to me that I haven't given. That's the way it works. Even if I don't think I gave it. Even if I don't think I gave it. Well, why did it show up? It's a universal law. Giving and receiving is the same. So are you going to use that law to bring you a bunch of crap that you're unhappy about? Are you going to use that law to give what you want to receive and start to this very day giving the understanding, the appreciation, and the acknowledgement? Keep it simple. Go, I'm going to give full appreciation as much as I can this week. Take all the abstractness out of this and just bring it down to, I'm going to really let the people that I know in my life, let them know how much I appreciate them this year, this week, and the blessings that they bring into my life.
Yeah.
Right, instead of being on the hunt for who and what I can get. Who's going to give me what I'm not giving. You know, and you're innocent if you're trying to do that. It just means you are misinformed. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. You're just misinformed.
Yes.
And love is going to still love you anyway.
Yes.
That's the way love works. So I want to get to the point I can do that. I can't do that in all cases yet. I do have a couple of people on my hit list.
That's pretty good.
I'm down to 2. I'm down to 2. Thank you very much. I'm down to 2 people. Yes. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. That's right. I'm number 1 on my hit list.
Yes, you are.
That's right. I hired a hitman called my ego that I'm trying to get in touch with to tell it I changed my mind. You know, my ego is like completely committed to kill me. And I'm like, I used to hate myself. I don't no more. I promise.
Tear up the track.
It's awesome. It's awesome. So, brothers and sisters, Earl Purdy page, check it out. Tuesday nights, The Way of Mastery at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. The Way of Mastery is another channel book that is an incredibly powerful metaphysical teaching. Because like I said, a good teacher doesn't use the same approach with all students.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't use the same approach with all the people you know. Same thing. I'll tell you, it's really cool. So I love you. I appreciate you. Could you acknowledge you one more time? Woo! 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 And what you say to yourself right now, I am entitled to miracles. I am entitled to miracles. And then look at somebody and go, you are entitled to miracles. We are entitled to miracles. We are entitled to miracles. We are juicy and sweet. Look at somebody and go, you are juicy and sweet. You are juicy and sweet. I hear juicy and sweet. Mighty companions, may the course be with you. Give it up. This is for you now. This is for you. You. Mighty companions online, I love you. And Jason wants to make an announcement.